Hey guys, welcome into Contemporary Issue Wednesday. Today we are talking about U.S. and China relations and this concept called the Monroe Doctrine. That is China trying to develop and assert its own Monroe Doctrine? Let's get into it. Alright guys, so the basis for today's discussion is this. The United States, ever since the early 1800s, has developed something called the Monroe Doctrine, which I'll explain later. And the argument that many people make today about China is that China is trying to do the same thing in its own region. So let's get into it. Let's discuss what this means. So in the 1800s, in 1823 to be exact, President James Monroe comes to United States Congress and puts forth what's called the Monroe Doctrine. And basically it says this. He's telling the European powers that the Western Hemisphere, North and South America, belong to the United States. It is their sphere of influence. And he's basically warning the European powers, hey, this is our sphere of influence, stay out of our business. Now, this has proven to be very effective for the United States because it means their entire hemisphere is either very friendly or at least not an enemy towards the United States. Now, you could argue that places at certain times like Cuba and Venezuela have been kind of enemies towards the United States, but not really. I mean, Venezuela has never been an existential enemy to the United States like Germany was to France or to Poland. And so the United States has enjoyed an incredible amount of peace, stability, and ultimately prosperity because it doesn't have to worry about different powers in its region trying to overtake it. Ultimately, the root of the Monroe Doctrine is the United States was trying to establish itself as the regional hegemony, that is the regional ruling superpower of its region, North America and even South America. This is really important for the U.S. because not only is it the regional superpower of North and South America, it's also separated from Asia and Europe by two massive bodies of water. So the United States, even today, is safe. I mean, no one's going to be invading the United States anytime soon. No one from North or South America. Canada's not invading us anytime soon. No one from Asia or Europe because no one has the technology or the capabilities to transcend the thousands of miles of oceans and actually invade. Now, the argument is that China is trying to do the same thing in its region. That is, China is trying to signal primarily to the United States, but also to places like Russia and Europe, that Asia is China's, that Asia is China's region of influence, that is their rightful place to say, we will dictate the terms of the security and the prosperity of Asia. Why does China want to do this? Well, it has looked at the experience of America in that America has established hegemony in its region and has seen that no wars have been fought in North America since, I don't even know, the Spanish and American War. Really? Was that the last war that was fought? It might have been. Since that time, no massive wars have been, at least interstate wars. Intrastate wars, that is civil wars, have happened, most notably in the United States, but no interstate wars have happened, and that's contributed a lot to the success, the prosperity, the power of the United States. China wants a similar situation for China. That is, they want to expel any primary foreign influence in the region, most notably the United States, and China wants to become the regional hegemony of Asia. Now, this is a controversial topic. Not everyone believes that China wants to do this, and some people in China believe this is not the right move for China to make. But there are many people who do believe that China is trying to become a regional hegemon, most notably offensive realists like John Mearsheimer, who says, look, the best way for a state to promote and secure its power, its status, and its security in the world is to become a regional hegemony. And all you have to do is look at the United States to back your argument up. And so if China wants to do that, if China wants to become the regional hegemony, it will do everything it can to maximize its power, to reduce tensions in the region, but also to assert its authority, which is it kind of seems contradictory, but at the same time, if China can assert its power, it can maintain, it can enforce security in the region. And so it wants to expel the influence of the United States by pushing the United States out, by alienating some of the United States allies, or at least drawing United States allies closer to China. China does this mostly through economic statecraft because there's such a massive market, a big trading power that states will naturally incline towards China, particularly in the region because they want access to the Chinese market. And so that's what people are worried about, or that's what people are thinking is happening in China at the moment. As China is rising, as it's becoming more powerful and more developed, will it start to challenge U.S. influence in the region? I would argue it definitely already has. It already has. See South China disputes. And so that's what people are starting to argue is happening in Asia. That is, as China is becoming more powerful, as it is rising in prominence both economically and militarily, it will try to assert more authority in the region in order to become the regional hegemony, pushing out the United States, pushing out Russia, and even pushing out regional powers like South Korea and Japan, or making them subservient to Chinese needs. If China can do that, history says, at least some people would argue, that it will become much more stable, much more secure, much more powerful and prosperous. And final thing I'll say about this is there is historical precedent for China being the regional hegemon. All you have to do is look at most of the history of Asia, where China was the hegemon of Asia. So there you go, guys. What do you think? Do you think China is trying to reassert its status as the hegemonic power in Asia? Or do you think China doesn't actually stand to benefit from trying to combat the United States and Japan and Russian European influence in the Asian region? Or do you think it's possible, but it's kind of far off? China has a lot more domestic instability issues that they have to solve before they can assert regional hegemonic power. And crucially, most states around China don't even want China to be the hegemonic power in the region. What do you think? I can see both sides of it. I'm leaving the decision up to you. You guys are informed. You're watching this channel. Speaking of which, subscribe to the channel, share the videos, comment below, let me know, let me get your thoughts, and remember, reality always trumps ideology.